ladies and gentlemen, today we'll start the debut on the Cavas with Timothy Cavas. Turnbuckle TV has been sold off. It's my wrestling promotions used at the start of the first year for us to start our own YouTube show. There was a tie between On the Cavas and Wrestling News Now. Since I'm the one that made the poll, I'm the one that's going to make the choice. So, you read the comment off my poll, you'll understand why it took me a little longer to get to this debut. So let's just go ahead and start out with some things here. I want to start with the TNA side, with the AJ Styles storyline, real life, whatever you want to call it. AJ leaving with the World Heavyweight title and showing up at all these other promotions around the world. Well, as we all saw recently at Final Resolution, Magnus is the, I guess you would say, interim World Heavyweight title holder for TNA, according to Dixie Carter and that little bugger hairspray covered spud. If you've read the spoilers, you already know what's going to happen here within the next few weeks before it airs on television. But with AJ Styles traveling and hitting up all these different wrestling promotions around the world, it's a good thing for him and for the fans everywhere else to get to see this. Now, I do know for a fact that coming up here soon, he'll be going to Toronto for Smash Wrestling to take on Chris Hero. Now, as many of you know and have seen and heard, I've had the pleasure of meeting Chris Hero on two different occasions. I've had the pleasure of repping Chris Hero's match recently at Beyond Wrestling tapings in St. Louis, and speaking with Chris Hero on the site itself about the business, about wrestling in general, and about his life and time up and down the road. I wasn't going to ask his permission to publish anything he said, and I wasn't going to publish anything he said to begin with. He's not one of those types of guys. But I can tell you this, a AJ Styles versus Chris Hero match, if we get a chance to catch the match, or if I can find it after it happens, linked out online, I will gladly share it with the RSN world, because AJ Styles and Chris Hero match is going to be fucking phenomenal. Them two guys in there tearing it up, it's going to be just out of this world. You've got AJ Styles hitting Dreamwave to take on Christian Rose. I don't know if any of you have seen a Christian Rose match, or anybody even knows who Christian Rose even is, but I've had the pleasure of seeing some Christian Rose matches personally, and Christian Rose is one damn fine wrestler. And between him and AJ Styles, we're going to blow the roof off the Dreamwave come season premiere. So be checking and looking for that one as well. He's also going to hit Preston City Wrestling over in the UK. He's going to hit some CZW. If I remember right, if my knowledge serves me correct, AJ Styles is an alum of CCW, if I remember right as well. He's also going to hit House of Glory with the Amazing Red and take on the Young Bucks. That's going to be a good one as well. So let's shift a little bit over to Magnus. There's a story that recently came out, it was published, that I did release out on RSN, that Magnus is the first British, whatever you want to call this guy, wrestler, to win a World Heavyweight Championship out of an American wrestling promotion organization in the last 108 years. Okay? The last time this happened was when George Hackenschmidt beat the American Tom Jenkins back on May 4th, 1905, and thus was dubbed wrestling's first widely regarded World Heavyweight Champion. Magnus is a good wrestler. He's got world title written all over his face. the point of it is him getting the world title the way he did, or this soon in TNA. It's got me a little puzzled. I mean, it's got my bong resined and hopped-filled mind from all those years of doing things I shouldn't have done a little baffled. I mean, there's that moth flying around bouncing off the side of my brain trying to figure out why in the hell would Magnus be the TNA World Heavyweight Champion at this moment in time, and the way that they were giving it to him. When Magnus first came in and they stuck him with Doug Williams, Doug Williams is a very sound wrestler and he's been around for a long time. So I'm really hoping that Magnus learned something off of Doug Williams to begin with, because at that time Magnus wasn't a molded wrestler in my mind at the time to even hold a tag team title, let alone a world heavyweight title like he is now with TNA. Again, y'all, if you've all read the storyline and you've all read into the spoilers, you already know Magnus and AJ's match outcomes. I'll let you dig back through to find them. I'm not going to tell you. Kurt Angle. What the fudge is going on with Kurt Angle? Okay? One of the greatest wrestlers to ever come into the business. An Olympic gold medalist. He's been in WWE. He's been TNA. He's done it all. I mean, he's done everything you can think of. Had a bad spout, was in rehab for a while, and come back. He's back on, TNA TV. He's back in there doing what he does, and he's just dropping match after match after match after match to Bobby Roode. Some might say Bobby Roode's got his number. Well, I mean, by looking at it, Bobby Roode's got more than his number. He's got Kurt Angle's ass every time they get in a ring. As my kid in the background says the same words, ass. I don't know if it's a push for Bobby Roode again to step up to that level one more time, eventually stepping over Kurt Angle and getting that world title one more time. Bobby Roode as TNA World Champion was actually, in my eyes, a really good suit for Bobby Roode at the time. They didn't have him in a tag team anymore. They didn't need him in a tag team anymore. He was good enough to be a singles competitor and to run the longest reigning TNA World Heavyweight Champion of all time so far was one of the great feat for him. Now, I know that was taking a page out of WWE's book and kind of referring it to a CM Punk type angle, but CM Punk escalated that reign as champion in WWE than what Bobby Roode could have done. Kurt Angle, I don't think he's got much left. I mean, he's turned down his Hall of Fame induction. He feels he's not worthy enough for us as fans or for the rest of his guys and stuff that he works with at TNA to push himself to that point. I don't think that matters in my eyes. I mean, Kurt Angle is one of the greatest wrestlers to ever step foot in a squared circle. And it doesn't matter who he wrestles against. I mean, it's going to be a phenomenal match. I don't think I've seen one bad Kurt Angle match that I can remember off the top of my head or pinpoint the opponent he even was with. So stay tuned to see what we have going on there and see what happens along those lines. I don't really have much more to say about TNA. I mean, TNA's kind of slowly declined down that slope. They're about to hit that, what I would call a sheet of ice, and slide completely off the scale of professional wrestling if they're not careful. And in my opinion, TNA doesn't step up and grow a sack of hairy balls. You're going to be looking at Sinclair Broadcasting and Ring of Honor possibly stepping into that picture of trying to vie for the #2 wrestling promotion in the world right now, underneath of you-know-who, the global monster and Vincent Kennedy McMahon. So, speaking of Vincent Kennedy McMahon, let's go ahead and jump into the WWE world here. Been kind of crazy over the last 6-7 months. The Shield, the Wyatt family, CM Punk, Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, Daniel Bryan getting a screw job each and every single week, Randy Orton being the face of WWE, and Kane dropping his cane and becoming Glenn Jacobs and running for office. I mean, come on. I mean, what in the world's going on? I mean, I know it's global entertainment and all, but Jesus, get back to the basics of wrestling and forget about all this power of authority and running for Senate here and running for Senate there. I mean, Linda McMahon's been running for Senate for how many years, and where's she gotten herself? Nowhere, in my opinion, and I don't really think she's got a chair anywhere in a house of any kind, except for Vince at Kenny McMahon's house, and it's probably a chair all the way across the other side of the mansion, away from Vince, you know, in my opinion. That's what I would do anyway. So, let's go ahead and start with Randy Orton. As you all know, he is now the undisputed WWE World Heavyweight Champion, or undisputed WWE Champion, or, well, who cares? He's the champion of WWE. He beat John Cena at TLC, which we all kind of seen coming. Now, that can only lead into a couple of things if you think down the line. You know, this is December. Christmas is around the corner. Then we step into the beginning of the road to WrestleMania with the 2014 Royal Rumble. You know, John Cena losing to Randy Orton could be setting up John Cena for that entrance into the Royal Rumble, and winning that 30-man over-the-top battle royal and getting that shot again, whether it's Randy Orton at that time at WrestleMania or whoever it is at that point at WrestleMania holding that title. Or, I mean, could John Cena pull a page out of CM Punk, little black book there, and say, well, you know, I've done this, I've done that, I've done it all, and I don't really have much left to do except I want to call out The Undertaker, and I want to end The Undertaker's streak come WrestleMania 30. Well, I'm only going to be 34 years old by the time that the Royal Rumble hits this coming year. And I will say this, and I will go on record with my wife and child standing behind me, and this being recorded on YouTube, that if the WWE books John Cena to take on Mark Calloway, a.k.a. The Undertaker, at WrestleMania 30, and they let John Cena beat the streak, if they have The Undertaker hand what you would call that proverbial torch to John Cena and loses, ending the streak at WrestleMania 30, I, Timothy Gibbons, will never watch another wrestling program of WWE's ever again. And again, as I said, I have my wife and child behind me to hear this, and it's on a recorded YouTube video. So, if I have to, I'll send this up to WWE and be like, don't book the match, because you'll lose me as a fan. And I'm only just one person, but for Jesus Christ, nobody wants to see John Cena beat The Undertaker and end that streak. That could cause one hell of a riot inside the arena, let alone outside the arena, or anywhere else, including just WWE Universe, period. It's going to be a complete catastrophe on social media if that were to happen. Now, HBK has kind of stuck his wandering eye into some business here recently between Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton and Triple H, and you know, it's Shawn Michaels. I mean, WrestleMania's coming around, and he is a showstopper. He is Mr. WrestleMania, and he's got to get his wandering eye in that picture somewhere so somebody can stare at it and maybe be mesmerized by the HBK again. I want to see HBK versus Daniel Bryan in a student versus teacher match. I know Shawn is beat up from all the years with the back problems and everything else he suffered throughout all those years, but I do feel that if we were able to see it and get Shawn to sign that one-time lucrative deal to take on his student Daniel Bryan in a one-on-one confrontational match, whether it happens at Royal Rumble, whether it happens at the Elimination Chamber, why not stick it at WrestleMania 30? Make it the grandest stage of them all. WrestleMania 30, the return of Shawn Michaels, taking on the student, Daniel Bryan. You have The Undertaker probably going to be at WrestleMania 30. You're going to have the World Heavyweight title defended at WrestleMania 30. You're probably going to have the return of Batista at WrestleMania 30. You're going to have Brock Lesnar there somewhere, bullying somebody. Hopefully it's probably Cryback, getting his teeth knocked down his throat by Brock Lesnar. Who the hell knows what's going to happen? WWE changes everything on the fly anymore, and half of us can't even keep up with it unless you're RSM family and you know what you're looking for. Point of it is Shawn Michaels is going to eventually step back in the ring and go against his word of saying, I'm done, I'm done, I'm done. We've seen it before. Woo! Woo! With the Nature Boy Ric Flair, who retired once, came back and wrestled, retired again, and came back and wrestled. Went down to Australia and did the Hulkamania tour, brother, along with Hulk Hogan. Then he showed up in TNA and he started wrestling in TNA and he got his ass kicked out of there. Came back to the WWE, got another ring on his finger because he's a horseman. I mean, seriously, Shawn Michaels is going to step in the ring one more time. It's going to be against Daniel Bryan. And Daniel Bryan's going to super kick HBK right up out of the ring. CM Punk's got nothing going right now. They've been throwing him in tag matches. They've been throwing him against the Shield. They've been throwing him against the Wyatt family. CM Punk's broken, guys. I'm sorry. I mean, the guy's busted himself up for the past year and a half. It's time for him to leave and take some time off, get the rest he needs, and heal up perfectly, and come back out of nowhere, stomp everybody's ass down through a mud hole, run right up that rank of that ladder, take that world title, stomping Randy Orton's little bitty beanie neck into the mat, and claiming himself, you know, the World Heavyweight Champion once again. I mean, CM Punk does not have nothing going right now. Creative has slacked off. They've had him get his ass kicked by the Shield. They've had him get his ass kicked by the Authority, Randy Orton, the Wyatt family. I mean, what else can you do to the guy? Are you going to bring in Batista and Brock Lesnar and stick him in a handicap match, for Christ's sake? You'll break the poor guy in half. Are we going to see the return of The Undertaker? I mean, do I even really have to go into this conversation? We all know what's going to happen. Whether he loses at WrestleMania 30 and it's done and over with and he finally retires, he has one last match at WrestleMania 30 and decides to have a speech that makes everybody in the arena cry and everybody watching on pay-per-view cry, like when Ric Flair decided to retire at the time that he fought Shawn Michaels, and you could see in the ring at the time where he looked at Shawn and he was crying already. He's like, just come on and get it over with. And Shawn says, I'm sorry. Super kicks his freaking brain out of his head. I thought he was going to have an aneurysm at that time, besides the times when he's all fired up like he always does. So, The Undertaker will show up. Could be against John Cena. God, let's hope not. I really like to watch wrestling for at least another 10, 20, 30 years, or however long I'm going to live. Could it be against Brock Lesnar? It could be. Brock Lesnar break The Undertaker in half and be done and over with. Could Batista show up and challenge The Undertaker? I mean, really, who knows? I've said it out here many times before. Everybody on RSN knows my thoughts, and everybody I've talked to outside in the wrestling world, the only man I feel that has the right and deserves that right to ever beat the streak with The Undertaker would be Kane. Sorry. I'm still going to stick with it. Kane. The rumors of Batista returning have been all over the internet for the past 2 days. Somebody's got some information and it leaked out, and all of a sudden, it's been pulled from advertisement. All of a sudden, that Batista appearance for the 15th and 16th has just all of a sudden been just pulled. And WWE's in an uproar. They're all freaking out up there in Connecticut and everything because somebody leaked out that Dave Batista was coming back for a non-televised house show. And they were eventually going to squeeze Batista in there sometime on a Monday Night Raw. Well, Batista sure as hell can't act in a movie. And if anybody watched his last fight he had in MMA, the guy made a joke of him and a joke of the promotion he fought with when he held Batista against the freaking cage and kept on punching him in the face and playing the crowd and go, look who I'm beating up. I'm beating up Dave Batista from the WWE. Dave Batista belongs back in a wrestling ring, period. Nowhere else. Worst acting job I've seen. Can't fight worth a shit. I'm not an MMA fighter either. I'll tell you that, and I'll say that on record right now. But by God, Dave Batista sure as hell ain't no MMA fighter. So he needs to go back into a WWE ring and go in there somewhere and get thrown in the mix somehow, some way. You got the Shield. Everybody has been talking about the Shield, the Shield, the Shield. They've been here for so long. They've devastated everybody. They've kicked everybody's ass all up and down the road. They've been tag team champions, United States champions. What about all the dissension that's been going on in between the Shield here lately? You saw Roman Reigns and you saw Seth Rollins kind of step away from Dean Ambrose there a week or two ago, and Dean Ambrose got beat in the ring. You see the dissension when they're kind of in together and everything else. And my God, what's with this Roman Reigns blow-up explosion already? Him being the golden boy of the Shield all of a sudden. Why? Because he's related to The Rock? If you smell
what I'm cooking, and it sure as hell ain't Roman Reigns. So, my point is yes, Roman Reigns is a good wrestler. My point is that Roman Reigns does not need to be the golden boy to come out of the Shield. And I really know that there's a few people out here that will agree with me, 150,000 million, billion, trillion, gazillion, whatever number you can put out there percent, that the breakout star to come out of that Shield is going to be Dean Ambrose, then Seth Rollins, then Roman Reigns. And if it does come to be Roman Reigns because he's related to The Rock, well, again, that's politics and family playing into the WWE, like always. Wyatt family, Bray Wyatt, my God, I know that you come from royalty, okay? I understand your dad was one of the greatest back in the day, IRS, when he was a tag team with the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. But Bray Wyatt, brother, maybe you need to follow the brothers to a wrestling school. Because the wrestling school hasn't taught you well. Maybe somebody needs to give you a taste of Sister Abigail, and it might put a little bit of stuff in that brain to where you follow them buzzards and learn a little bit of wrestling. Because I'm telling you right now, brother, your cronies are doing a hell of a lot better job than you are, buddy. And I can see it as it sits now. You're going to see the Wyatt family holding tag team championship gold very, very, very soon. With that said, a tag team championship gold. Oh my gosh, I'm slobbering at the mouth. I'm frothing down my chin. I'm chattering my teeth so bad that I'm filing them down to make them look like Gangrel's teeth when he was here with the Brood and Grada and Jeff and Matt Hardy at the time back in... Oh, man! I'm itching and clawing my skin down my arm like I'm waiting for a hit. That Goldust and Cody Rhodes has to break up. We need to see it happen. We need to see Dustin Rhodes versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 30. WWE, book it, write it, and stick it in the creative storylines now. Let them lose the tag team titles. Let them lose it off to the Wyatt family cronies, Harper and Rowan. It's going to happen. It's going to be Goldust for some reason, somehow. It's going to be the reason why you guys lose the tag team titles. And the Wyatt family has tag team gold wrapped around their sheet-covered face mask, ass all the way around their whole body. And it's going to be because of Goldust. And Cody's going to be like, what the hell, Dustin? And then you're going to see brother and brother at WrestleMania 30 like it should be. It'll be the greatest match in family feuding history. That's no pun on the TV show. Sorry, Steve Harvey, but it ain't getting a cheap plug out of me. It's going to be one of the greatest family on family that you would see ever in a wrestling ring, and that is Cody Rhodes and Dustin Rhodes. And you're going to have Dusty Baby standing off on the outside, not really knowing whose corner baby to be standing in. Am I going to be standing in my baby boy Cody Rhodes' corner, or am I going to stand over here in my number one and the natural and stand there with Dustin and see what's going on? Point of it is, baby, is I'm the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and I know what's going to be good for business, and that is Dustin Rhodes versus Cody Rhodes, WrestleMania 30. Anybody's got some comments or words or dislikes or likes or whatever you want to say, that's perfectly fine. Again, this is the debut of On the Canvas with Timothy Givens. I'm going to try and make it at least a weekly deal, or maybe every 2 weekly deal. I might just pile a bunch of wrestling stuff all into one and spit it out here for y'all to watch and listen to, and let y'all run your little fingers on that keyboard. Say what you got to say. Kick it back to me. Let me hear what you got to say. That's it for what this got on this time. It's 25 minutes down, and this is The Canvas with Timothy Givens.